Hey Trekkies, it's summer, and you know what that means. It's time for Creation Entertainment's Trek to Las Vegas 2025. This year, the convention has been expanded to a 5-day schedule, August 6th through the 10th at the Rio Las Vegas Hotel. Meet all your favorite Star Trek pros in one place, and hey, maybe you swing by Vic's Lounge and you see our panel. It's a great way to meet people in person and have some fun with your fellow Trekkies. If you can't make it to Star Trek Las Vegas, of course, there's also other events around the country this year. Trek to Orlando, August 23rd through 24th. There's the Trek to New Jersey, September 6th and 7th. And finally, the Trek to Chicago, November 22nd and 23rd. We're looking forward to meeting as many of you as we can this year. So make sure that you get ready to trek to Las Vegas.
Is this thing on? Hello, hello. Welcome to Open Pike Night, the Strange New Worlds podcast where your calls are the prime directive. We are back with Season 3 of Strange New Worlds, finally at long last. I'm your host, John T. Bolds. Here with me tonight are my co-hosts, the man who definitely could podcast missing half his frickin' hand, Jesse Bailey.
That's right, and I happen to be missing half my frickin' hand, but it's okay. The doctor waved a light over it, and everything is fine.
Excellent. And the man who is so jealous of Sam Kirk because he has daily fantasies about grabbing guns out of weird slimy piles and fighting off aliens. I mean, who wouldn't? It's host of Green Shirt, a newbie Trek through Next Generation, Cameron Harrison.
You've been looking at my browser history again, John?
Absolutely.
Guys, it feels like years since we've been here to talk about a new Strange New Worlds episode, but it's only been, what?
A couple of years.
A couple of years, yeah.
Oh, it has. Okay.
I mean, we're pretty close to the 2-year anniversary of us getting to watch Subspace Rhapsody, right? Together. Was it Subspace Rhapsody or was it Hegemony Part 1?
It's Hegemony Part 1.
Yeah. It was just about 2 years ago. We all got our screeners while we were at Star Trek Las Vegas and actually got to watch it together.
That's right.
Oh, boy. And here we are. And as I said in our intro, your calls are the prime directive, and boy, did our listeners call. We have some new callers tonight. We have a dozen calls tonight with folks celebrating the return of the crew of the Enterprise. We have changed up a few things this season, nothing crazy. Hopefully you've heard our writers' interviews on our Strange New Words segments. We are trying to get those for every episode of the season, trying to get those for the day they drop those episodes of the season. We'll see how we do. We got a pretty good track record so far. And also we are carrying over one of our traditions for our Discovery and Lower Decks coverage, where we are now picking a song at the end of the episode that we feels best represents the Strange New Worlds episode that we just watched. So we'll be building playlists for this season, just like we did for Discovery Season 5 and Lower Decks Season 5.
Woo, woo!
Now, before we get all the way into this, let me just say, as a matter of record, called it.
Well, speaking of a matter of record, Jesse, I was wondering if you and I would want to do a dramatic reading of our DM exchange while we were watching it together.
Absolutely.
Should we start with that, or should we do that in the middle?
I think let's do the middle. Yeah. So my favorite thing about watching Strange New Worlds as it's airing and having this podcast is that we get to hear what the fan community thinks about the episodes as they happen. So Producer John, fire up that first call.
All right. Well, let's welcome our new caller, Lucy, to the Open Pike Night stage for the first time. Here we are.
Hello, Open Pike Night. Lieutenant Lucy from London here, reporting on Hegemony Part 2. You guys were not wrong. Hot damn. So glad the show is back. The production values of this episode were through the ceiling. I was blown away by the Gorn digestion pods and ships, the new science lab, and the TOS surgery costumes. Erica bleeding out over the Gorn controls, and the lovely solar glare on the faces of the bridge crew. But as always with this program, it's the script, the line delivery, and the performances of this wonderful cast. Una telling Pike to follow his own advice, Lan's riposte to Mabenga that it's not so great here either, the funny and touching new double act of Pellier and Scotty, and even Sam vomiting. But I want to single out Anson Mount. His exchange with April shows that he's learned from a quality of mercy, and for a captain who's normally so laid back that when he does raise his voice with the "Come on, Bob" line, it hits so much harder. But also then when he softens with April, when he's given the opening of the line officially, his authoritative presence on the bridge while wrestling with the burdens of command and concern for Battelle, the imaginative decisions that belie the theory he's only overly reliant on his crew, the line delivery of "make us shine like the sun," but above all, his impressive and beautiful breakdown with Battelle and the "okay, Dad, you win" at the end. We got into the show because of Anson Mount, and he continues to shine like the sun.
These are some excellent points, and welcome, Lucy, to the Open Pike Night stage. I really love when we get international callers because it makes me feel, I don't know what, it's like another layer of validation that what we're talking about here really does reach further than just like our little Trekkie group of friends. So thank you for calling. And yes, the thing that really hit me, and you can hear about this in our interview with Davey Perez, who wrote the episode, is that "shine like the sun" line could have been so cheesy and like just fallen completely flat. But the way it gets delivered is absolutely what makes it. It's just, Anson has this gear where he takes things that are seemingly pretty basic and just elevates them beyond what you would expect. I was so happy to hear that this is the way that other people are reacting to it too. And you're not wrong about the production value. Like, the money is here, you guys. We've talked about how New Trek is the opposite of old Trek in some ways, and chiefly among those, the budget. Wow.
No scrims 2 feet away from the actors representing alien backgrounds, right?
Yeah, I don't know that we've ever seen a matte painting in Strange New Worlds because they have like the AR wall, right? So now all the matte paintings are deep and digital, and everything about this episode. I remember the first time I fired it up, I was giddy. I was shaking in my seat. They pick up exactly where the last episode left off.
Yeah.
And I always find that, as a layperson, very impressive because they hadn't been on set for like a year and a half or 2 years by the time they started shooting this. There was a strike. There were multiple strikes. There was all kinds of time in between the end of creating season 2 and starting season 3. It looks like it's the same episode. It looks like they filmed the whole thing at one time and then cut it in half. It blows my mind every time.
It's really nice to see that they are able to carry on a part 2, which, man, we know Star Trek's had some issues with part 2s, but it's like, this is a long wait, and they just picked right up, like Jesse said, and ran with it all the way to the end zone. Wow. We're a Star Trek podcast. We are not a sports podcast.
the sports end.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad you brought up the scene between Pike and Admiral April, because we're probably going to spend a lot of time talking about the scene between Pike and Battelle.
Mm-hmm.
But that scene with April certainly does deserve some recognition, because I was watching it today and being like, this is like a really good scene. Like, it's really clarifying these two characters and building on the history we know they have, and it just kind of sums up the stakes in the mission all in a pretty quick little scene there.
Yeah.
Scene there over on the USS Pablo Picasso.
Yes.
I think April came over to the Enterprise. Is there precedent for the ships being named after painters? And why did we not see a ship with like a nacelle up on the bridge and like a Broussard collector where the deflector dish is? I mean, come on, I was hoping.
Well, because they knew I would be watching it, and they were like, well, we don't want to upset Jesse too bad.
Yeah. Star Trek already had their cubism period too, anyway. So.
Oh, nice!
Yeah.
I like that. And to your question, Cameron, I know that they've been named after people before, but
sure.
I don't know that I could pick out a painter in previous memory.
Scientists. I mean, Elbaz, stuff like that. There have been scientists, rivers. I don't know if there have been painters. So
sign me up for a ride on the USS Frida Kahlo. I think that would be a cool ship.
Georgia O'Keeffe for me, please.
You know what blows my mind is that I was the first person to reference Georgia O'Keeffe on this podcast, and that was like 2 or 3 years ago. And when I did it, you were both like, really? That's your reference? And now she's like a staple here.
I think I've been referencing her since season 1 of Green Shirt.
Oh, okay. Well, that's entirely possible. I've listened to all of Green Shirt, but there's just such a huge backlog that I can't remember every episode specifically.
I was proud of my joke that I think they had Georgia O'Keeffe guesting as the makeup artist on an episode where they had giant vaginas on their foreheads.
that's what it reminds me of, a vagina. Thank you. Wrapping up the Georgia O'Keeffe corner there.
All right.
But yes, this has got to be the angriest line delivery with the word Bob in it ever. Yeah. Like, it's so hard to make that name sound, weighty, I think. But
I would say Mad Men is the only show that's ever come close. There's one line where somebody yells at Bob very specifically.
What about Bob?
What about
Bob?
But
does he ever yell about Bob, or does he just say baby steps down to the, boy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that movie is held up, and I don't know if I want to go watch it again and find out.
Is What About Bob the one with the shark? Or was that?
It's a Richard Dreyfuss film for everybody.
Yes.
That's what I remember about it. And Bill Murray? Yeah,
Bill
Murray's Bob, right? Yeah.
I'm nearly certain that I've seen it, but I was probably 10, and I don't remember anything about
That's
it.
everyone's recollection of that movie.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's watched it in the last 30 years, hopefully.
All right, well.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and hear from another caller. Here is Engineer Mark.
Hey guys, it's Engineer Mark here, and I feel like I've been run over by a truck. Then the truck backed up and ran me over again. In a good way.
Yes.
There was so much action in this episode, easily enough for 2 all by itself. And as an engineer, I have to comment on the slapping gizmos together. No, nay, never. No notes. There are never notes on that. Let's see who gets that one. What surprised me was how fear was handled here. Lon's fear got her free and moving. Scotty's fear got him to get his act together. Taking fear and pressure and turning it into something positive is something we shall all try to do in our own lives. I do like how this arc wrapped up. They found a way to push back against overwhelming odds. And yeah, the Gorner is still a threat, if neutral for now. How long has it been since a new episode? After this, it might as well have been yesterday. Just that much of an impact. Well, until next time from here in engineering, live long and prosper.
Thank you, Mark. One of our great patrons. You can check us out over on Patreon at Open Pike.
And yeah, while you're down there, if you could just really quickly recalibrate the EPS conduits, because I feel like they've been kind of flickering on and off. Thanks, Engineer Mark. But I also really like your point about fear, because I remember forever ago when Hegemony Part 1 aired, there was some chatter about how folks did not like that Pike seemed to be paralyzed by fear on the bridge at the end of that episode. And while I pushed back because I'm a fanboy, I was like, look, it's a cliffhanger moment. That's why they stretched it as long as they did. And it's probably subjective, right? They're trying to show you that for Pike, this feels like it's taking forever. But I like it because it shows the immediate turnaround in this episode. Like, he lets the fear hit him, he processes it, and then he says, okay, options, solutions, what do we do? And then that seems, to your point, Mark, to be kind of a theme throughout the episode. And it's a great way to resolve that, because I know there were people asking, like, well, what is he going to do, and why can't he make a choice? And it's like, he's processing. Give him a sec, And this may be the smallest technicality that any Star Trek character has ever used not to follow an order. He says he told us to retreat, but he didn't say retreat immediately. It's like, dude, like come on, man. Is that what you're gonna put in your report? Like, well, they didn't say immediately. I mean, I'm here for it. It's very, cowboy and cool of him. But yeah, I really like that point, Mark. And I think the thing that I like the most about the scenes with Scotty is that we hear all the time from the actors who play these characters, like, oh, it's not the character it's a younger version and this, that, and the other thing. But for the most part on screen, they're kind of playing to what we know about these characters, and they're doing that for good reason. But here, you actually see some of that multifaceted nature. Like, Scotty has always been overconfident. He knows the ship like the back of his hand, right? Except for that one particular bulkhead. But here we see Scotty really doubting himself. He just lost a ton of people. And I guess you could say Scotty doesn't know how to process grief. And it's okay, because he's going to learn, and Pelia's going to help him. And I love...
No, I guess we know your song pick.
Oh, yeah. That's the song I picked. I like that the way that...
Shit, that would be a good song pick.
We kind of learn that, Scotty wasn't told, like, always give yourself extra time to solve a problem when the captain asks you how long it'll take. He's learning you give the captain the answer that they need, right? Because Pelia isn't like, oh, well, we're going to need more time. She just says, when do you need this? And then she tells him it'll be done. And it's like, watching that moment of mentorship, I think, is really going to add a lot of layers to this new Scotty. And Martin Quinn, if you have not heard our interview with Martin Quinn, go back into the feed and check it out. Guy knows what he is doing, and I am so happy to have him aboard.
Also, if you haven't seen our interviews we've been posting on social media with him and Jess Bush, just
that was super fun. Yeah.
Quick from the press junket, like, just I didn't realize he has such a smolder, like, just his active listening face while we were asking questions, like, dramatic looks up when he realizes what the question is. This kid's got a future, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Jesse, you said an important word there earlier. You said the word turnaround. I love this episode. I love this episode because it's a Star Trek episode. It's the Strange New Worlds episode, and we are a Strange New Worlds podcast. And I only have 46 episodes total to choose my least favorite one, and this certainly isn't going to be it. So, what happens in this episode? I'll tell you what happens. I'm glad I asked. They run toward the Gorn and fire a torpedo, and then they run away from the Gorn and retreat. And then they run toward the Gorn to go find their crewmen, and then they run away from the Gorn to go send a warning, and then they run toward the Gorn to go put them back to sleep. This episode is just the Enterprise going back and forth like 4 times. I'm not criticizing, but it's like...
Well, I mean, I don't have a lot of criticisms about this episode, and I have kind of one medium-sized one I'll get to near the end. But there was a little bit of like, oh, so they left, and now they're back. Okay, and I was very confused the first time, too, because I thought they like went to a starbase, but I guess they just met up with the fleet somewhere, which is okay. But they're over a planet. Why is Battelle still on the Enterprise? Get that woman off the Enterprise, which is heading back into enemy territory, and get her some real medical help.
Well, because you don't just switch attending physicians in the middle of care.
Then yes, you're right. Chapel and Spock should go down with her to that planet or to the Pablo Picasso.
You don't take the chief science officer and highest ranking medical officer off the ship in the middle of a crisis, Cameron.
Well, they're busy with Battelle. They're not focused on anything else.
Well, but they're still chiefs. Chiefs? Is chiefs the plural of chief? Anyway, John, what you're saying is that the Pike maneuver is actually a complicated series of repeated U-turns?
Yes. High-speed U-turns.
Very good. Speaking of high-speed turns and heading back to the intro of the episode, we have lodged our complaint about the little spinny camera rig many times on this show. I am not complaining this time. That was the perfect time to use that. It was such a good opening to this episode.
Yes, it was. Well, let's go ahead and hear from another one of our callers. Here is our good friend, Jen.
Hey, this is Jen. First off, Mitchell's a badass, and hopefully we get to see more of her throughout the season. Also, why didn't they use the trick that the doctor used for his kid on the captain to put her in stasis? The Gorn ship was really creepy, kept giving me aliens vibes. Don't be rude, of course I can, was probably one of my favorite quotes of the episode. What I really liked towards the end there was the kind of subtle OG Trek music that was in the background when Chapel and Spock were talking. God, I hate recording these things. You guys know this. I've done this like 3 times already. And final thought on this episode is you gotta love the plot armor for the main cast, which, I love. I'm so glad everybody made it.
Okay. Completely echo your thoughts on Jenna Mitchell. I was glad to finally see some of the moments of heroism that we know she has inside of her on the screen, right? She's been there since day one. She's always sitting next to Ortegas. Of course she would have that level of dedication to what's going on. And I'm happy that we get some spotlight for her finally, because I mean, if there's one complaint we've had about Strange New Worlds in general, it's that there are too many amazing characters, because it's like we need them all to have their own episodes, their own screen time, that kind of a thing. So I'm glad to see that beginning to be resolved.
Yeah, Davey talked about how, that opening scene with her kind of being one of the many people to offer a suggestion that worked. Like she offered the suggestion about the torpedoes, I think. That was really about Pike, kind of, his leadership style and his round tabling problems and everything. But they didn't have to do the scene later where she's like, I'm not leaving my fucking seat, sir.
Yeah.
And so that, like, they didn't have to do that, and I'm so glad they did, because she is a rock star.
Yes. And the way that little scene between the two of them, it's like, oh, look, we know that she's not going to be main, above the titles cast member, but it was really good to see. It's like, okay, yes, they take the time in an episode where a lot of stuff is happening, and give her that moment with Pike to have a conversation, be like, no, yeah, you're my captain, but this is my crew. And really gave her time. I mean, she might have had as much screen time as M'Benga did in this episode.
Yeah.
So
now I will ask.
Great to see.
I will ask, because Jen mentioned the plot armor. Did you guys think everyone was going to make it off the Gorn ship? I mean, I had seen the trailers, which I wouldn't necessarily call a spoiler, but like when you see shots of every character in that trailer, you're like, okay, they're probably safe.
I mean, I was never worried. I mean, 2 of them have the plot armor of appearing in TOS, and La'an. We knew they were all around. We knew they were both Chrissy and Melissa are filming season 4, so I wasn't worried. But there was definitely the moment where, like, I think, as you said to Davey, like, they are using every filmic trick in the book to tell you this is it for this character, and I think that second shot of the blood filling the screen, I was like, what are we doing here? What? What are you telling me?
That's a lot of blood. And I didn't want to say it with Davey. When did putting compression on open wounds stop being a medical practice, Starfleet? Because you got 3 people there. You got 6 hands, 7.5 hands, really, if you can get Ortegas to hold her own wound. No, they're like holding her up, arms up. It's just like, there's organs falling out. I mean, come on, man.
Well, I do kind of love how, like, Sam Kirk's in the back, like, I'm fucking hurt too, guys. Like, did you see that tail? Like, I think I've got like 2 broken ribs, but I guess she's more hurt, so she's going to get all the screen time. Okay.
I was really impressed. Like, they took, arguably Ortega's biggest plot up to this point, which was she remembers that she flies the ship, right? And it's a mantra. And they turned it into a hero moment. Like, it was already heroic in Among the Lotus Eaters, but now it's like 80s action movie level heroic, and that's part of what convinced me this is a sacrifice. She's gonna let herself go to save these people.
She's realizing and accepting who she is. Like, it feels like the end of an arc.
Yes, because even seeing the trailers, I was like, I can't believe they're about to kill her. I am so mad. Like, at least she's going out in the way that she wants to, but I was so upset. Like, emotional roller coaster all the way through this episode.
And I do want to say real quick, like, we've probably talked to Melissa more than anyone else on on the crew. I mean, we've had more episodes with other people, but I think like our time with her has been more. And previously, I wouldn't say she is her character, but they're pretty close together. But, this episode just made me sit forward and go, Melissa Navia can fucking act.
Yeah.
She has some moments that are really good.
Yeah. I do, and I agree with Jen, that line. Of course I can. Don't be rude. It's like it's like you're getting a laugh line on the edge of this character's mortality. It was so well done.
I think that was one of the moments where I was like, that line has layers.
Yeah. It was. I remain completely impressed. Definitely check out our interview with Davey Perez, who helped write this episode. He got the teleplay credit. I really was. It's not that my expectations were low for this, right? It was like, I had so much fun in season 2. Could it still be that fun? And I'm happy to report it is, and then some.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I've said it, but this episode, real good.
Real good.
real
good. Great way to start a season. Great way to end a story. Let's go ahead and hear from another caller. Here is Platty.
Hey, Open Pike Night, this is Platty M3 calling in with my hits, shits, and giggles. Hits, we'll start off with I love Pelia yelling at Scotty to panic him and getting him to work faster. Love the Mitchell bit that she was the one who came up with the idea with the dud torpedo. And also, absolutely loved when Pike said, let's hit it, when they were actually going to hit the other ship. Big hit for me was actually just getting to watch an episode after 2 years off. So, woohoo! Let's go Strange New Worlds being back. Alright, shits. Poor Ortegas' hand, missing fingers. Oh, shit. Production-wise, I felt a lot of constraints in this episode that kind of confused me, too. I mean, why was sickbay empty except for Spock and Chapel the whole time? They're in a battle. Where's all the injured going? And then they quickly beam 300 colonists into an auxiliary sickbay. What does that place look like? I would have loved just a quick shot on the AR wall of that and some people milling about. Also, the science lab set gets used instead of Scotty working on his device and engineering. I mean, was the AR wall booked this week or something? Also, I am so very confused where the Gorn live or where they go to. In this episode, they disappear somewhere between the stars, but it's not the place between the stars that the Enterprise is. I mean, that completely lost me most of the time on the geography of that. All right, giggles. I was definitely laughing when Pike mentioned that the Gorn should be looking out a window to realize they weren't a Gorn ship. I mean, Enterprise seems laughably larger than those little fighters to just go blending in with them. But, hey, plot device. They needed it. All right, this is Platty M3, signing off.
Platty, as usual, your mind to my mind.
And I could see this is going to be another season, Platty, of you basically daring me to try to explain some stuff.
Well, Platty's out here asking questions about a podcast 10 years from now when you're looking back. This isn't a day of episode question. Come on, Platty. Ease up, buddy.
But I'll take a shot. What if they were already in the auxiliary med bay, Platty, and that's why there were no other people in it? Everybody else was already in the regular med bay, and they just happened to be identical looking rooms. Definitive? No. Possible? Yes. Now, secondarily, the reason that you saw that new science lab set is because they built a new science lab set, and they're going to put it on screen, right? Like, that's probably the only explanation for that. And I get it. But also, currently, Scotty's not the chief engineer.
Yeah.
He's just a guy on the crew. Now, his mentor is the chief engineer, so she has run of the ship. So maybe she pushed that project there for whatever reason. Maybe they're doing a bunch of other really important stuff in engineering. And the looking out a window line, I feel like might be a TNG callback. There was a character, it might have been Riker, who said the only way we'd know that we dropped out of warp is if we looked out a window. And I cannot remember which episode that was in. Editor's note, it was TNG Season 4, Episode 3, Brothers. But I'm nearly certain it was a Riker line, so maybe it was that. But I don't disagree that it seems like if the Gorn use light to communicate, they probably have very sensitive visual processing. Yeah.
Well, the line reminds me of the scene from Independence Day where Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum suddenly pop up and wave to the alien before launching the missile at him. But I mean,
Hi.
They don't really focus too much on what Erica's looking at while she's piloting the ship, but it doesn't look like she has a visual
No, she's
like
looking
screen.
at the
Like
display.
it's like it's infrared if anything. But I mean, the display doesn't look like it's images of what she's flying towards. It
Right.
looks like it's like a readout of like light and patterns and stuff.
I think she's flying on feel.
So what I'm saying
because-
is, I don't think they have a window. They could have looked out and seen the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Right. We didn't see a lot of windows. And I think it's another way to indicate, look, she just understands flying on an instinctual level because she's not looking out the window. She doesn't know how to read these instruments, but she understands like joystick and, control rod style things. So it's a fair question to ask, but
And also a fair question to ask when Pike says maybe this is their home world. To Platty's point, what is he talking about?
okay. So I think
Are they warping somewhere when they go between the
No.
star? No. Is there a planet that just remains on one side of this binary star system? Because that's not
Yes.
how planets work.
Well, it's
Or is the fleet
hidden
just
by the
live out
lensing
there?
of the gravity
Right.
of the two
John
stars.
is correct.
Yeah.
So there's
But
probably
the planet would come around to the other side and not be hidden. At
not
some
if
point.
it's sitting at a
If it's
Lagrange
a Lagrange
point.
point. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta. I mean, probably with two stars, you probably got like a dozen Lagrange points in there or something like that. My non-astrophysics knowing ass. But yeah,
Okay.
like I think that's what because the first time I watched the screener, I was like, okay, so they're warping away somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, he's saying the light is being bent by both these stars so much just because that's what happens when you get
So
close.
just
enough.
fly around the star.
Yeah.
Space.
It's probably part of Gorn mythology, like, the eyes of the universe, etc.
Or maybe there's no planet, and that's just where the fleet
Yeah.
hangs out, is between
So,
the two
and that's
stars.
also entirely possible. I kind of read it as like Pike is making a leap in logic here, and it's not necessarily that he's correct. Like, this could be their staging area. This is where we launch fleets from because nobody can see it because of said gravitational lensing. Maybe we could get Dr. Erin McDonald back and ask her about it.
We absolutely need to. Yeah.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
I
Help
don't-
us, Dr. Aaron.
I think it was you, Cam, who mentioned like binary stars are new Star Trek's favorite thing to do. Like, it was done multiple times in Discovery. It's being done here. Like I'm not complaining.
Lower Decks did it once.
I think so, but it's like, well, in the
Binary
intro
star
to Lower Decks has that the
Yeah.
binary star system, and one's being consumed. Like, I'm not complaining. I like the binary star idea, but it does sometimes feel like, what is happening here?
Well, what's happening here is we're going to go ahead and hear it from another caller. Here is Abby.
Hey, Open Pike, it's Abby Summer from the First Flight podcast. Let me hit a couple things. One, Celia's wig is so obvious in this one. I love her new, bigger, poofier hair and putting it under that skull cap, especially if you watch part 1 to part 2. It's a best of both worlds, Beverly's hair length situation. And it's the one flaw in this episode when it comes to hair for me. Speaking of silly little things, can we talk about La'an's eyeliner and how it stays perfectly unsmudged, wringing her eyes despite being half digested in flesh sacks or whatever you call those? So whoever makes that makeup, I think I need to start buying it because, like, I smudge mine when I sweat. I love they brought back the old school TOS like quarantine medical suits that kind of look like shower curtains, and they've got all the geometric tessellations on them. Absolutely perfect. I love Vulnerable Pike. That last scene with him praying and with Marie, and he says, or you can just let me hold you. Like, my heart broke. Tears, tears, tears. Oh, yeah. Lots of body horror in this one. Most of it I'm cool with. That hand, it got me. Partly because don't you hurt my Erica. Her journey seems like it's going to be an intense one this season. So looking forward to more Tegas. Last thing, because I'm running short on time, bring on the Pelia and Scotty banter. I want heaps of it, mountains of it. It's perfection. Thank you so much. Be well, and we'll talk soon.
That is our good friend Abby setting a record for number of topics in 90 seconds. I even had to cut out a couple, Abby. Thank you for your call.
I'll say it one last time, just in case you haven't listened to, I think I said it in 2 of our other writers' interviews, but they promised us more Tegas. They literally gave us less Tegas by
Yes.
dissolving off part of her hand. How dare
Pretty
they?
sure one of our callers says that later on too. So
It's a good line. It's a good line.
it's good. It's a good line.
Yeah, is this a good time to read our discussion, Jesse? Since
I
you
think
brought
so.
up the prayer.
We can. And now, a dramatic reading of Cameron and
Just make
Jesse's
John read both of us.
first watch. Only if he does voices. I think the best way here, Cameron, is to cast us as ourselves.
I think so. That'll be
I think so.
least confusing
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah. And we're
All
most
right.
familiar with those characters.
All right, so I began as soon as I finished this episode DMing Jesse 3 sobbing emojis. Damn! I said.
Right? I had to keep reminding myself I know that Erica survives. I've seen the trailer, and it still effing worked.
I know! Or is the rest of season 3 all a fever dream of hers before she bleeds out?
I totally effing swear, if this is a head fake, if they kill her off, I quit.
But for half a second, I just pictured Akiva going, "So you want more Tegas, huh? How about we do the opposite?" If this is any indication, this show is about to explode, all caps.
We called so much of this. Cameron, you called the cold open. I called the shot of the Enterprise being a lighthouse. I called the fix being putting the Gorn to sleep.
We all called Battelle.
I was like, are they going to keep everyone? If I have to trade Battelle for Ortegas, I'm fine with that. Mitchell with the moment, Scotty with the heart.
F! Because I'm going to censor myself like you are, Jesse. I already have so many notes, and it's 2 months away!
I know it's going to be torture, but I'm so happy.
Scotty Pelia equals so good. Easily the best start to a season yet.
Anson acting his balls completely off. Fully agree. And it definitively shuts down the Gorn for all of season 3.
This is where we're getting so excited we just started cross-posting. Jesse! Jesse! I never thought seeing someone start to pray would hit my heartstrings that way. I'm getting chills again just thinking about it right now.
You, me, same effing page, same effing book. You put prayer in my Star Trek and I like it?
Referring to Jesse talking about Anson acting his balls off, Anson neutered himself with his acting. And scene. I think we get it there.
Yeah, so as you can see, bit of a roller coaster for us. I stand by what I said. I love Battelle. I really do. I'm glad they kept Melanie Scrofano in this show. But if you made me pick, if I had to trade one of these characters for another, I would absolutely be fine with letting Battelle go if it meant that we got to keep Ortegas.
Well, that and Melissa Navia gives us more interviews than Melanie Scrofano has.
Right. We should really get on that.
We tried.
We try, man.
She's very busy. She's starring in
I
a
know.
Netflix show, and she's in high demand. But yes, rest assured, listener, we have not given up the hope of speaking with Melanie Scrofano.
With anybody. I mean,
Yeah.
really.
No one's off the table.
And I completely agree with Abby's call out of the costumes here. I really like anytime they decide, let's do a TOS thing, but make it look good. I'm here for that. I mean, that's arguably the entire concept behind the Gorn, right? And seeing the inside of that Gorn ship. I mean, Cameron, this had to be like a dream come true for you. You've got a body horror in Star Trek, and it's gross.
I immediately was
It's
like,
so
fire
gross.
in the sky flashbacks, and I am here for it. It was so good. Well, and what I wrote is like, this episode does a great job of, in 45 minutes, being like a medical drama, complete with relationship stuff happening in the ER, a rescue mission, and yeah, a survival body horror film. Like, it's so good.
I was very glad to see finally the interior of this Gorn ship because it's huge, and I have been wanting to see what it looks like on the inside. It's so like asymmetrical and strange and very alien. And the inside of the ship, I mean, it's essentially a Borg ship, right? Like it's
They're all just being used
strangely
as batteries.
yeah,
Yep.
and
Biological batteries.
but it's the gross version of that. Like it makes it really effective.
That I love that the hero moment of cocking the gun is replaced with shaking the poop off the gun. It's so good. It's so good. And I have to agree with Abby's call out of Uhura's wig. I have terrible wig dar I clocked that
Man.
right away. And so, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I kind of hoped, like, man, maybe they went back between the screeners and the final one to, like, try and clean it up a little. No, they didn't. They didn't.
I have really bad Wigdar. I didn't notice it until Cameron said something. I was like, thanks, man. Like, now I can't not see that.
Yeah. Can't see Megamind sitting behind Pike on the bridge.
But I will say, pay close attention for the rest of the season because Uhura's hair is probably the thing that has gotten my attention the least atop a crew member's head.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm following you now.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and hear from another one of our great patrons. We've heard from several tonight. Here's another. Here is Sincera.
Excuse me. There's a little bit of dust collected up here since Hegemony Part 1. But if you ask me, it was all worth it. It comes back in full force. Everything we were hoping that would happen happened. I'm so pleased to see our entire crew at the top of their game, especially La'an's, let's call it PTSD that she's had for the past 2 seasons. She was finally able to use that as a tool of strength, and that's how she was able to escape the Gorn feeding cocoons or digestive stomachs, whatever we want to call those. But she was able to break free based on her own personal strength. There was no timey-wimey space magic or anything like that. No techno babble. She's using the pain that she was put through to build strength. And then, of course, I did stand up and cheer when a shotgun was put into a Gorn's face and they said, "Eat this!" Or was that aliens? Hard to tell. Both are really good, and I'm happy they're back. I'm glad you guys are back, even though you never actually left. But we're back doing what you do best. And that was my timer telling me to stop babbling.
I'll allow it going over for that.
Yeah, we've heard from more than one caller in like our Discord and on social media that cutting the reaction to this episode down to 90 seconds has been a chore. So I want to thank everyone who has called in. I know some of you recorded multiple times. You probably had to cut your own MP3s and things like that. Thank you so much. Especially on a night like this where we have 12 total calls. I think that might be a record for Open Pike Night for a single episode.
And for those of you that called and were like, my call sounded different than that, I cut them too, because some of you did not stick to the 90 seconds, and I had to trim it down. But
when we have
show
3
business,
calls,
right?
we leave the whole thing. When we have 12 calls, we go more by the book.
Yep.
Yeah, but we do try to preserve the artist's intent, I'm sure.
Yeah, mostly I cut out the, hey, it's so great to be talking to Open Pike Night again. Like, like I leave the content and take out the praise for us.
Can you put all that in one clip for us to listen to?
Yeah,
though?
oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Send
our
that
sleep
to
music
me
from now on.
personally.
Yeah.
That would be great. But yes, and Sarah, I'm right there with you. Like, La'an in complete unfettered badass mode, like, this is the La'an I've been wanting. Like, we know that she's a badass. We've seen that she's a badass. But here she's kind of in charge of making sure everybody else is okay and they make it out. And she waxes these Gorns so satisfyingly. Like, oh, I was so pissed when that Gorn put his hand through Ortegas. But it was almost worth it to see La'an just put that phaser rifle right up to its face. Like, it was a Trinity dodge this moment. It really was.
Well, and don't forget, we get a little Action Sam moment there, too, where he comes running at it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And gets, like, it's like Predator. He screams, right? The Gorn roars and Sam's, ah! Like, there's nothing about this episode that I would have done differently, personally. I might have shown the Gorn home planet, but I also don't think we need that, because what are you going to do? Go down to the planet? Or, like, now you have to explain why it's not launching more fighters? Like, I don't know. I
but
think
the Enterprise does go between the stars. You think they would see it? Yeah, that whole what's over there, I was a little
But again,
not tracking.
I think Pike was just incorrect. Like, I think this is a staging area that they use. I don't think their planet is necessarily right there.
That's right.
But yeah, it was everything about it I was so happy with.
Well, then I'll take what may be a controversial opinion. La'an was a badass. My kind of moderate critique of this episode is, and it's, it's a good critique to have, I guess, is I wanted more. And specifically, I wanted more with the prisoners on the Gorn ship. I felt like you have these 4 characters, all who kind of like have some meaty drama that you could deal with them being behind enemy lines. Like they've all kind of had to deal with that in different ways. And I didn't feel like much was taken advantage of there. And then knowing that this is a turning moment for La'an, because we've seen episode 2, most of us, teeny tiny spoiler, but Davey talked about it in his episode. La'an does come through something. She comes back and she starts changing, and I'm not really sure what happened with her. We see all these flashbacks of her brother, and then she goes, yeah, but this place isn't great. And then they get out and she's better. And I'm like, well, did she really face the Gorn? Like, what did she do different this time? And she did. You're right. She came up, she did the Trinity moment. She saved Ortega, so no one got left behind. But I felt like that was kind of just brushed aside. And I wanted it to hit that moment a little more and go, oh, this is important. This is a big deal for La'an that this is happening this way.
Well, but she has told us in the first season that she was the only survivor, that she couldn't save her brother. She couldn't save the other colonists.
And that's why she wants to save all these colonists.
Yeah, that's why she wants to save them all. And she, instead of panicking and freezing like she did when she was a kid, she finds the computer. She gets the information. She facilitates everything that happened. She gets them to the ship. Honestly, I'm with you there, especially with M'Benga. I'm like, he's there.
Yeah.
Like
he has some good lines.
He's present. Yeah, he has some good lines, but I'm like, man, we're really not focusing on him. Okay.
I think for me it works because, like, as far as M'Benga is concerned, this is another day at the office. Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, that's what I wanted him to be like, look, this is how you're going to get through. This seems bad now, but I would use that to help the others.
Yeah. I mean, he did. He gave La'an that talk of like, this place is not that place. Like, you are not the same person you were there.
That's true. And that's important to him. You're right.
And he knows, like, I need to function here. I got to kick ass, save asses, and if I have time left over, I'll take some names. But I think, like, the arc here of La'an being the first to wake up, deciding this is not where I die, and then verbally walking herself through, I got to get the doctor out first. That's what I should do in this situation. It's John is absolutely right. It's her realizing I actually am the only one who can save all of us because I have the experience, I have the knowledge, and I have the iron will to push through this. Like, I have to take point here.
I guess just the visual storytelling of the flashbacks, it never felt like that had a conclusion. Like, if they could have tied, like, her seeing the rescued colonists and then, like, her having one last moment with her brother in a flashback. Something just be like, yes.
Her standing next to a burning Gorn body and seeing her brother's forest ghost. I get it.
Give a thumbs up. Yeah, exactly. It's cheesy. I would have taken that, though. There's some cheesy stuff here. Lean into it.
Cameron is officially the world's biggest Manu Noonien Singh fan, I think.
Yeah.
I was like, Manu? Oh, yeah, her brother.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 10. One critique of this episode is that it does feel like it wraps up pretty quick. And we had some hour-plus episodes
Super
in season 2.
Yeah.
I think they could have fit in another 5 or 10 minutes.
They could have fit in them getting back to the ship, them being like, opening the Gorn ship and people vomiting when they see Ortegas and, just like...
Well, and you got to know, like, some of those people are more dissolved than Ortegas was. Like,
oh, yeah.
There's just guts spilling out all over that staging area. But, yeah, in a 20-episode season, this could have been a really good two-parter. But, it would have been great if the pilot had been like, we're just with the prisoners. We're just with La'an and Ortegas and them. And they're working their way through. And we don't know what's happening outside. And they get out in the shuttle. And that's the cliffhanger there. And then the next one is all about what Pike and them are doing. And then they finally meet up at the end of that episode. I think that would have been super fun. But
that would have been super fun.
I understand. 10 episodes, you got to do what you got to do.
I'm conflicted here because I'm on the record. I mean, I asked specifically for a cliffhanger. I wanted a cliffhanger.
Your fault.
So please feel free to blame me specifically for how long this took. But I'm also like, I want as many stories as we can get out of this crew. And with 10 episodes a season, some things need to go quick. And I'm sure there are people out there right now listening to this saying, yes, let them be done with the Gorn. Let's keep going. And I like the way that they wrapped it up. It fits in the canon. I if I were going to nitpick a scene, I'd maybe like a scene where, and it's sort of implied that this is classified and you don't talk about it because it was not a sanctioned mission. But I'd like to see Spock sworn to secrecy again because we know he can keep a secret. And this would be great for why he doesn't say anything, in the Arena episode. I'm fine with it either way. I think I could read Spock not saying anything in the Arena episode as him just kind of choosing to be a little bit pissy, because that's how TOS Spock is.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fine with it.
Well, let's head back across the pond and hear from another one of our callers. Here is Michi.
Hi guys, this is Michi and here are my thoughts for the first episode of Season 3. Finally. I love this episode. Basically everything about this episode is great. I don't even know where to start. The chemistry between Scotty and Pelia is amazing. Those two are a perfect team and I can't wait to see more of them. Which says a lot because I'm not a big fan of bringing all the TOS characters in. Because the show has a lot of great characters on their own who deserve way more attention. But Martin Quinn did such a great job. The Gorn world looks amazing. It is so creepy and disgusting to see the people being digested alive, and I love Sam Kirk in this episode. It is about time that they not only use him as a comic relief character, but show him with more depth. And the emotional roller coaster Pike goes through in this episode, wow. Anson did such a great job portraying all the many emotions going through Pike, just wow. The last scene in the infirmary is so strong. In the whole episode you see all those characters supporting each other, working together, caring for each other. They are a family, and this episode shows that perfectly. It is a perfect start to the season, and I can't wait to see more. Till next time, have a great day.
I love hearing Michi's accent. It just reminds me of Werner Herzog describing the inside of a Gorn ship and how people are being dissolved. And
I just want... Michi, will you just record you saying "digested alive" on repeat for me? Because that's my comfort sleep sound.
I'm going to bring this up because we are very guilty on Open Pike Night of not talking about Spock and Chapel, which we have not. We have not mentioned the fact that they are having a.
I think we're going to talk a lot about it next episode, but
yeah, but I notice every time we have a Spock Chapel episode, unless it's really only about them, we always skip over their scenes.
I mentioned there's a romantic drama going on.
That's about the best we usually do.
I'm going to talk more about it at the end. My song pick is about it, but feel free if you have something to say.
No, I like that. It has to set up what's coming next. It has to set up the next episode and the time passage, the time jump we get, and I feel like they struck a good balance. I would have maybe cut some of that, but I guess if you go back and watch part 1, they did have a big. It's they almost died in part 1. Their story in part 1 is just hey, you're back. Could you save my girlfriend now? It's by the way, I fought a Gorn in 0G vacuum, but you don't want to find out about that. Okay, I'll go save your girlfriend. You got it. She's got those bubbles are still going to be there. Yeah, she's going to be hideous.
Spock is so relatable this episode because he went out and did the freaking impossible to save her and bring her back, and she goes, "Oh yeah, we'll be friends. I'm going to go. When I get back, we'll be friends." And you see him, and he's heartbroken. He's like, "I just fucking fought a Gorn hand to hand for you. Okay, friends." And then at the end, when she they have their little moment out in the hall, and she gives him a little kiss on the cheek, and his smile says everything. It says, "F yeah, I just saved my captain's girlfriend and my own relationship at the same time." That 100% in his eyes, you see where he starts the next episode at. You see, he believes completely in that moment that she's going to come back to him and they're going to be together when she gets back. And I love that because it's just in his
so
expression.
You're saying there's a chance.
Yeah, 100%. It's that.
Chapel is absolutely Spock's biggest weakness.
Oh man,
he knows. He's listening to her explicit instructions, and then he still is I think she likes me. But I think it all works really well, in the episode, and B, for later on, because the way they interact in TOS is not super friendly all the time. Like,
No,
this is
super abusive a lot.
Yeah, you can see where it's coming from. And like, I don't know, if I were Spock, I would be like, please remember this person literally had a whole song and dance about how she did not want to be my girlfriend anymore. And she performed it in front of the entire crew. Like, I would not personally be able to get over that. I would sing I'm the X, and then I would move on. I would be okay after that, I think.
Not in front of the entire crew. She got the entire crew to join in with her and sing the same thing and echo her sentiments.
Which is another part of the reason that Spock doesn't like Sam Kirk. He was one of the first ones to kind of start bobbing his shoulders during that song. He was like, really, man? Okay, all right. Let's, just wait till the next time you bring a muffin to a meeting.
I just want Sam Kirk to have like so many last stand battles or situations for the rest of this series. We know he doesn't die in any of these. I just want it to be like, oh God, this is it. Like somehow he just comes out covered in gore. Like, I made it.
He takes out a Predator. He takes out like a Galactus. He takes out everything because we know it's going to be a flying pancake is going to take him out.
Yep.
Well, okay, but he wasn't worried about his wife and children in any of these situations. So he's like, you know what? I can focus on what needs to get done. I can charge this Gorn straight on. Like, it's a whole different setup. But you're right. I mean, as well as making some things from TOS deeper and better, this show does make some things from TOS kind of like weaker.
I am not even kidding. Where I hope they introduce a subplot where like James Kirk also gets his hands on a time crystal and finds out what happens to Sam, and like they concoct some switcheroo for us so that when we rewatch Operation Annihilation, we go, oh, that was a robot. I know what happened here. I'm not kidding. I want that to be all 6 episodes of season 5. Is that subplot?
My only pushback there, Cameron, would be like, it's kind of a retread of what we already got out of Alt Timeline James Kirk, where he found out Sam was alive and that made him happy. And then, you know, he sacrificed himself to save that timeline. Like,
and that timeline doesn't exist anymore. So we need it here in the prime timeline. The prime line.
Oh, man. See, they could just keep this going. They could just they've introduced so many ways to keep the Strange New World story.
The Sam Kirk spinoff of him becoming a secret spy and getting a body double. Give me that.
Absolutely. All right, let's hear from another one of our great callers. Here is Trev.
Hey, this is Trev, once again beaming in from Fail Out of Franchise, the podcast devoted to failed movie franchise starters. You know, between Strange New Worlds returning and the new Superman movie, it just feels so good to have these injections of joy and hope into the world that, let's face it, has grown a little bit darker since we last saw the crew. Not that I would call the premiere, Hegemony Part 2, the most joyous episode, of course, but I would call it a very effective, thrilling conclusion. I loved it. I'd say it was absolutely worth the wait. It is ironic that all of us have been calling for more Tegas this whole time, and then this episode literally gave us less Tegas by removing some of her fingers. Did you guys notice that immediately after she discovered and was understandably distraught about her missing digits, Mbenga said they'd only be able to get a handful of the colonists out? A handful? Come on, Joseph, read the room. I'll just quickly focus on was what I thought was a highlight moment between Scotty and Pelia. The scene where Pelia faked an emergency to help Scotty figure out a problem on the spot pretty much immediately killed those concerns of mine. This is what you want when you bring in legacy characters, giving us nice little moments of like character insight and background that further enhance and illuminate our understanding of them. And yeah, we already knew Scotty works great under pressure, but it is pretty cool to see a version of him that doesn't yet understand that about himself, and to get to see that confidence grow because a teacher recognizes it in him. Well, I'm also a teacher myself, so maybe I'm biased. But yeah, so even in an episode just jam-packed with gore and action, that moment was a standout for me. All right, I'll wrap it up, but I just want to say I'm very excited to be back on this journey with all of you once again. Thanks, guys.
You're my favorite, Trav.
Welcome back, Trev. I'm so glad to hear from you again. And I agree with you. And a lot of people have been bringing up this Scotty and Pelia moment, and rightfully so. Completely agree. My favorite thing about it is the subtlety that Martin Quinn uses in these moments. Like, there's nothing about him that's over the top. And you could argue that's kind of the opposite of the Scotty that we're used to, right? His moment where he says, "Why do you care what I do?" It was like, oh my God, that hurts. Like, he is depressed, right? He is upset about his crew that is now gone. Like, he doesn't fight her. He doesn't yell at her. He's not screaming and crying or any of that. He's just exhausted and like, stop caring, please. Let me just do my thing. Like, let me go. And it's so sad and so nuanced and well acted. And then when Pelia says, "Oh, Scotty," and her voice cracks, I was like, I'm going to cry. Like, this was 2 lines and I'm going to cry.
And remember, I think they're downplaying it because they don't want to like have people like me question this. Like, remember, she is thousands of years old. She is functionally an immortal. And so I think they were like, hey, let's not hammer that part too hard because we need her to be able to feel bad about, about making Scotty feel this way and feel like realize he's having this reaction, whereas somebody her age would be like, yeah, okay, we'll give it a year. You'll be fine.
Right.
But it is that is a beautiful scene that goes from, a scary to comedy to very, very heartbreaking in just a few seconds. It's like, man, that was well done. And I'm glad Pelly is still here. I'm glad, I was hoping they weren't going to do a Harry Potter new engineer every season type thing. So it's good to have her here. And all I can say is, it's a great season for Pelia.
It is. You guys have echoed most of what I have to say. I was going to mention from Michi's comment about Scotty is like, I was watching it today and being like, if they cast the rest of the TOS crew this well and as well as they did for Spock and Uhura, I might be okay with bringing them all on. Like, bring them on because the more I watch Martin Quinn's Scotty, the more I fall in love with him every time. It's just deeper and deeper. I agree with everything you said about mentorship. I also think it was a brilliant move to give those 2 characters history and that he's not just meeting Pelia. Like, they've done such a great job. And again, I mean, it's a spinoff from Discovery, so they have history anyway, but they've added more to all these characters. They all have history. They all have history with each other or with the universe, and it just makes it feel really lived in. And my final point on Martin Quinn or Scotty, I'm a sucker for any time there's a shot of someone wearing magnifying lenses for comedic effect. Yeah. I'm there for it. Thank you.
Yep.
And to your point about the casting, Cam, I think we can also all agree that Dan Jeannotte is playing Sam Kirk way better than William Shatner ever did.
Well, some might argue with that, but nope, you're right.
No, he said better, not deader.
Yeah.
Anyway, here's our next caller. Staying in Germany, here's Melanie.
Hi guys, here's Melanie, your Ensign Mount Chief Love Officer, reporting for duty about Hegemony Part 2. I had so many notes about everyone, not just Ensign, so let me just say this. The whole cast is amazing. The crew consists of smart cookies and everyone shines here. I wished I could have 90 seconds for them and 90 seconds for Pike. But let me focus on Pike, like you expect from me. Man, this episode hit hard right from the start. I really like how Chris asked the crew for ideas, and I love that it's Jenna who comes up with the torpedo idea. That moment felt earned. One of her favorite bits was when they ran the gone ship, and then Chris, steady as ever, tells Una to hit it. Just wow, so well delivered, not overplayed, but perfect. Chris was just great in this one. You can feel the weight on him. His job, the crew, the ship, the landing party, and then Marie, lying in sickbay, possibly dying. And between all that, Admiral April tells him they can't do anything, at least not officially. And then the whole binary stars and radiation zone plan. Chris saying he wants them to become a solar flare, and his I like those odds. Favorite line of the episode? It has to be, make us shine like the sun. The way he said it, breathtaking. So calm, so controlled, so Chris. When after the action he goes and sees Marie, you see him break. Okay, Dad, you win? He's crying, voice cracking, talking through tears, and then Marie wakes up. That scene was so well done. Another favorite line. Also, I was really afraid for Erica. There she was, flying the gaunt ship, bleeding and wounded, but still fierce as hell. What an episode, what a start to the season. Live long and prosper.
Okay, Melanie, I am so glad that you brought up Anson Mount because, yes, we talk about Captain Pike a lot. We have to. But this episode really does illustrate almost every single gear that he has. Like,
yes, it does.
He's got the intensity. A huge portion of the comic relief comes from him in this episode. Like, okay, we'll just turn it off before we explode.
Before we
like,
blow up, yeah.
He really is everything in this episode, and it's not even really necessarily about him specifically. Like you said, it's about the whole crew. But going to that moment at the end when he says, "Okay, Dad, you win."
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful moment for so many reasons. And for me, I think what I love the most about that is that we saw him last season tell Boimler and Mariner, "I never got to have the last discussion with my dad, and he and I did not agree on almost anything." And the way that he concedes before he decides, "All I have left is to start a prayer here," is like, so clearly that was a huge point of contention between him and his father, right? Like, his dad probably told him, "Look, there's a lot of value in praying and spirituality," and Pike probably pushed back like, "Well, I'm in Starfleet, I believe in science and I see value in these things." But we know from Discovery that he's not opposed to the idea of spirituality or religion, but it's like he's open to ideas, but he has decided how he's gonna get through his days is not that way, and he gives it up to his dad. And it's like, to combine that loss of his dad with the potential loss of Marie is brilliant. And like I was saying before, it lets him shift into his entire other gear of acting of like, my voice is going to crack, my face is going to tremble, I'm going to well up but not cry. Like, this guy is a good actor, you guys.
And as like a captain, I like that they had him solve the big problem. But he also had to trust his people on the Gorn ship. You know, he's like, "They're there. We're here. We need to solve these problems." And he put the best people he had on solving the Batel problem. You know, he delegates well. He listens well. But he also captains and leads well. Because really, he does. You know, he's given options, but he makes all of the very big decisions in this episode and beats the crap out of the Enterprise once again. The Gorn scoring hit after hit on this ship, man. Like, that's a lot of damn damage the Gorn have done in 3 seasons. 2 seasons in 1 episode.
And in case you're out there wondering, yes, this is John comparing himself to Captain Pike, because John solves all the big problems, but he trusts Cam and I to come up with little solutions and, you know, ideas for stuff. But
I'm pretty sure you guys have both solved some very big problems around here.
May have cost a few too. I mean, I agree. Anson is acting his mount off here. I wrote that. No, I cried for the 3rd time upon a 3rd watch of this at the end. And yes, while I agree with Davey that "Okay, Dad, you win" is the best line, you're right, Jesse. We can't forget what follows that up. After Batel wakes up and she starts being like, "Well, there might be some complications," and he's just like, "Shut up, you're alive. That's all I care about." Like, yes, those 2 moments are so good. The tension throughout the whole episode. I love the moment when like he's like, "Okay, just give it to me, baseline," and he's hearing how dire things are, and "I'm going to send Spock." Like, just the tension there is so good. I also love Spock's like, "I won't rest until the Gorn infection is resolved."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yep. Spock, well put.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
That's right. But to Trav's point, previously, yeah, there's a lot of dark stuff here. And I don't want to, forget Mitchell or Una or Uhura and the actors who portray them and the relief they feel. But the relief at this end of this episode, the hope that things can be dire and seem impossible, but the palpable relief on his face at the end when he finds out his people are alive, when he finds out Batel is alive, that is what we need right now, and this episode delivers in spades.
Absolutely. And Melanie, if you like that "Make Us Shine Like the Sun" line, keep your eye on the Open Pike Night merch store. That's all I'm going to say for now.
You might watch there. So, I feel like this is a question that's not going to get asked a lot. How many street drugs does the Enterprise carry around? Because they're definitely going to use those Orion street drugs to try and cure Batel, which means they have Orion street drugs on the ship. Where's the drug locker? Where's the street drug locker?
It doesn't mean they have them. They just might want to go get them if because they're just running simulations.
Let me reiterate. Benga did nothing wrong, okay? This guy invented an illicit drug just to fight the Klingons
This is
in
true.
the war.
Yeah, they didn't try battle meth, did they?
They might be out of it. I don't know. But it does. I think that a good doctor knows that there are some drugs that haven't been approved for medical use yet, but that could still be of help. And I think a good captain trusts a good doctor to be the one in charge of the kind of medicines they have on their ship. And that's why Mbenga did nothing wrong.
How many times have you guys donated blood?
Once.
I think 0 or fewer.
Do you know how much blood 2 liters is? It's a lot of blood.
Yeah.
I know she's Illyrian, but like, damn, how's she walking and talking right now?
Well, and she donated a lot of blood in season 1, and I think possibly in season 2. Like,
Yeah,
she's
probably been stockpiling it.
Yeah, and she like Illyrian blood probably regenerates semi-magically.
Yeah. Just sitting there eating a lot. All right, let's go ahead and hear from another caller. Here is Matt Law.
Hey, Open Pike, it's Matt. New development since the last time I called in. I am now officially affiliated with a podcast. It's called Prove It To Me, and it's about research. It promotes good research and eviscerates bad research. Good Gorn, y'all. It is great to be back. First of all, this episode had Davy Perez written all over it, both literally and figuratively, and his episodes are some of my favorites. What a fantastic way to open the season, and this is undoubtedly my favorite finish to a two-parter in all of Trek. I laughed, I cried, I felt everything. I do want to say Martin Quinn remains an excellent addition to this cast. The dynamic between Scotty and Pelia is just excellent, and I love how quickly that can go from tense to jovial to a little heartbreaking. I can't wait to see what's in store for the rest of the season. Also, the deep look into Captain Pike this episode, I think this is the first time I really choked up on an episode since the Elysian Kingdom. Folks, I don't care if you're religious or not, at some point, we all hit that point when we're looking for a higher power because there is nowhere else to turn. I lost it right there for sure. Live long and prosper.
All right, so confirmed. Matt is heartless because he did not feel anything in Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach. I think that's the message to take away.
Well, he didn't cry. I don't know if I cried during that episode.
I kid, Matt. I appreciate your call as always. And I'm excited to check out your new podcast. I like when people analyze poorly constructed things. And did you choose the word eviscerate because of the Gorn ship in this episode? I think that's totally fair. Very well put.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And a little peek behind the curtain. Like, this episode was so well written. We were so excited about, like, Davy presenting this to us on a silver platter. Like, that's what inspired the whole Strange New Words series. We're like, well, we know Davy. He's talked to us before. Maybe we can get him on. Maybe we can get the rest on. So 100%, Matt, I am there with you.
And I will go ahead and confirm Davy is coming back for another writer interview episode, so keep your eyes on the feed.
Indeed.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
This does also bring up something for me. I try really hard not to begrudge people their opinions on anything. And over the week, I've been, kind of reading up on people's past reviews of Strange New Worlds to see, like, are people excited for this? What do they think is going to happen? See if anybody called as many things as we did here at Open Pike Night. And I kept seeing a lot of stuff about All Those Who Wander, which is the episode where Hemmer dies. And a lot of people making comments like, this is bad writing because why did they do this? And why did they get rid of this character and this, that, and the other thing? And that's the kind of thing that kind of makes me upset, because you disagreeing with a decision that was made by a writer does not make that bad writing. That just means you don't like that decision. And that's completely fine. You don't have to like every decision. But that's why I personally really try to stay away from putting objective labels on the things that I love and the things that I don't necessarily love as much about Strange New Worlds, because I don't feel like I'm the person to give that sort of critique. And even things that I disagree with, I understand and see the value in them. And I think that's one of my favorite things about our writer interviews is that it lets you look into the process. You get to see where things come from. You get to find out that scene where Pike says, "Okay, Dad, you win," was really emotional for Davy because his father passed while he was writing this episode. And I think that adds an entire new layer. And I think it can help people sometimes to remember, hey, these are real people making this show on every angle. It's not just pretty actors, and it's not just some suits saying, do this because TOS. So this is not aimed at you, Matt, of course. This is just a thing I feel like I should probably state. And, go listen to the Strange New Words episodes.
Yeah. We love Strange New Worlds. That doesn't mean we think it's perfect. But, yeah, we have embraced getting to know the creators and the folks behind making the magic that we get to see on screen. And it really is a great way to say, okay, this makes more sense why they would make this decision or do this thing or put this here, like put us in the world that they are creating. And they're creating a hell of a world. Lots of them, strange ones. With new opening credits also. Let's actually mention that part of it too. I think these might be my favorite season's opening credits of the 3 so far. The first one was definitely basic, I think, compared to this.
But I like that it's kind of an evolution. Like, you can see how they got to these opening scenes from the other 2 seasons of opening credits. It's kind of like Lower Decks in that way.
It is. It's a lot like Lower Decks. It's fun. All right, we got 2 callers left. Let's go ahead and hear from Michelle.
Hey, Open Pike Night. I thought Hegemony Part 2 was a very satisfying conclusion. There were echoes of Best of Both Worlds with the whole sleep and, I think in this case, hibernate connection. The scene I really enjoyed was in those digestive pods. It was very visceral, kind of horror movie like, and when Ortegas came out with her hand, I was like, oh! And I have to say, if I didn't know that Erica was in the rest of the season, I would have thought she was a goner after that Gorn basically eviscerated her. She was a badass piloting that Gorn ship out, but I mean, I would have thought she was gonna die. So I'm not complaining. I'm glad she made it, and I look forward to seeing how that's gonna affect her character arc down the road. Also, I am so glad the rest of the crew is back. Pike is back, on point with his hair and everything else about him. My Crusher connection this week is twofold. First, what La'an said about always start with the doctor. Absolutely, especially on a rescue mission. And then secondly, I think Spock and Chapel absolutely made the right call in saving Batel's life using number 1's blood. And I think that Dr. Crusher would have done the same thing because she's certainly shown that she would break the Prime Directive to save a life. So absolutely awesome episode. Every special effects were amazing. And I look forward to the rest of the season. Live long and prosper.
All right, Michelle, welcome back to the Open Pike Night stage. Great to hear your voice again. And always good to hear a good Dr. Crusher connection. I mean, hey, there's going to be a lot of good ones this season.
And let me reiterate, if you like Dr. Crusher, maybe keep an eye on the Open Pike Night merch store. This is quite the opportunity that we have, and we are going to take advantage of it. Also, guys, this has got to be a record for the number of times the word eviscerate has been said.
Yeah, a lot of eviscerations in this episode.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Michi, could you just record you saying eviscerate? I do. The word hibernation made me think of something, because Pike has the line, I just can't help but feel that maybe we're making this someone else's problem down the road. Who are we talking about? Oh, Captain Kirk, because you're going to fight a big rubbery suit guy that everyone always is like, why does that one look different? Maybe this is why. They hibernated, slept too long. Maybe some of those colonists who did get digested weren't good for them, like were really high in carbs. And so over the next 20 years or however long, they've just been fattening up, getting more rubbery. So those big super soldiers that eviscerated Ortegas just turned into what we know from 60 years ago.
Or that Gorn was specifically pulled out of hibernation for that one trip.
Oh, this was like the first one that woke up and they were real sleepy.
Yeah. He's like, fine, I'll go on a scouting mission.
Yeah, I haven't eaten in 15 years.
Yeah, and then he gets teleported down by the Metreons, I think.
Something, yeah.
The aliens, and I can say teleported there because they basically use magic. It's not an actual transporter.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a great call forward. It shows that the writers are paying attention to canon. I mean, the next episode, say what you will, but they know that there is canon in this universe, and they're paying attention to it. Sometimes they may choose to disregard it or add to it or adjust it, but they know what they're doing. And I'm glad that you brought up Best of Both Worlds, because there are so many parallels here. Like, you're on an alien ship. You don't know how it works. You're learning that as you're trying to run away. Like, there's a lot of really good stuff here, and I'm happy to see it, because there was no point watching this where I was like throwing my hands up like, this is just new Best of Both Worlds. Like, they do it in a way that makes you excited to notice the parallels rather than going, they ripped off TNG.
John had to point it out to me, and I was like, oh, that does make sense.
Well, yeah, remember the part where Picard punches Data in the guts and rips him open?
Now, this is not
Locutus, yeah.
This is not a Crusher connection. It's a Force fusion. Anyway, I love how La'an just pulled a total Star Wars and shot the door controls to shut and seal the door. So Star Wars.
Also pulls herself up like after she falls out of her pod like Obi-Wan does.
Hanging onto that umbilical cord. Oh, I wanted more time on that Gorn ship. That's the only thing that could have made this episode better for me.
Great scene with La'an, too, because it's like, okay, you realize you're in danger, you break out of this disgusting pod, and then almost immediately die because you fell off the edge of the deck. Like, it's like out of the frying pan into the fire for her, and she still maintains composure and does what she needs to do.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get to our song pick shortly, but first off, let's hear from our last caller. Here is Grayson.
Hey guys, it's good to join my fellow guest contributors to the Trek 365 podcast here on Open Pike Night. It is really bright up here on this stage. Did y'all modify the main deflector shields to modulate the exact radiation and EM signals to turn the spotlight into an X-flare? Because it's looking like an artificial star.
We added a fifth light.
Seriously, though, thanks for your recent interview with Melissa Navia. She just seems so genuine and so excited to talk about her role. It was a really fun and interesting listen, and I can see why she chose chaos for her one word to describe this season of Strange New Worlds, because we know not all of them make it to TOS, which is very different from usual Star Trek, where someone gets hit by a plastic blue barrel and we're led to believe they might not make it, but of course they're going to make it. We've seen the promo for next week and they're in it. Yes, exceptions to the rule. Tasha Yar, Captain Shaw, Hemmer, R.I.P. Hemmer, but generally, the stakes are pretty low for mortal wounds amongst our main cast. So this season, when all bets are off for characters like Ortegas, La'an, Pelia, Captain Batel, I'm very nervous for Captain Batel. These risks this season are going to feel so much more earned. It's going to be such a good season. Okay, I will see you guys next time at the wedding. I don't know if there actually is a wedding. I haven't seen the second episode yet, but I went and got a dress uniform just in case.
I love you, Grayson.
Yeah, always good to cover your bases, Grayson. We're glad to have you back. Yeah. And yes, Grayson brought up the Trek 365 podcast, which is a daily Star Trek podcast from Isaac, formerly of the Unplanned Trek Show. And Isaac and I both recently guested with the guys at It's Got Star Trek to discuss Shore Leave, which I would say is tonally the exact opposite of this episode, so go check that out. But you mentioning Batel and the mortal wounding and everything made me think of something. Do we think that because Una was already on the table giving away pints of blood like they were cookies, do we think maybe Ortegas has some Illyrian DNA in her now? And do we
She
think
might have Gorn DNA in her.
And do we think that Patel might need a trial of her own this season because now she's part human, part Gorn, and part Illyrian, and we can't just be handing somebody like that a captaincy, can we?
Yeah, triple threat. Yep.
You also brought up our interview with Melissa Navia, which thank you. Definitely go check that out if you haven't. Our live Q&A with her, and I mean, all I can say is echo that, like, yeah, she was very excited to reach out to the fans and talk to them about this season. She reached out to us, and she couldn't make it to the New York premiere, so she wanted to be able to talk to the fans somehow, and we were glad we were able to facilitate that for her. I will have to correct you though. Her one-word tease of chaos was actually for season 4. That was our first season 4. Her tease for season 3 was home, which I do wonder if you've listened to our interview with David and Kirsten about episode 2 yet. They talked about how at the end of this episode originally we weren't going to know if Ortegas made it. That was going to be a question. We were going to think she was dead, and then at the beginning of the next episode, Uhura was going to go to her home and find her there recuperating. So I wonder if that tease, which she gave to us long before they filmed this season, was a tease for a deleted scene.
Yeah. Who knows?
Certainly could be. And
we'll just have to get her back and ask.
That's right.
And speaking of teases, we pride ourselves on getting little tidbits out of people that become relevant as you see the episode. But we've also had teases like charades, which we got a year before season 2 came out. And then that was the name of an episode. We also have another instance of that this season where we got a tease, I believe was from Jordan Canning, the director, last year, who said terrarium.
Yep.
And that is the name of an episode much later in season 3.
But I believe, now you're not wrong, that is the name of an episode, and we did get that tease. I'm not convinced they're connected, though, because I remember us going, like, why would she give us the name of an episode that's not her episode? I think it's a tease to something in season 2, which I won't say right now, just in case people haven't watched episode 2 yet, not season, episode 2. But it teases something in episode 2, which she directed. You're right. Yeah,
I think Cam's right on this one.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So I guess what
you're saying. Do you know what we're talking about, Jesse?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I guess what
you're saying.
Yeah.
Do they mention a terrarium?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I guess what you're saying, Cam, is that people are going to have to watch every episode of season 3 of Strange New Worlds and keep calling in to open Pike Night?
I apologize, but that may just be the case, yes.
It seems like the best and only option. Yes.
Before we wrap things up, I have one last note, and it's appropriately from like the last scene of the episode. Again, love the moment between Pike and Patel at the end. Everything about it, including the crossfade to the binary stars. It's on the nose, but beautiful, and I am here for it. And it makes me wonder, genuinely, is it intentional to suggest that there's some secret hiding between them as well?
Ooh, nice. I actually literally just got goosebumps when you said that, Cameron.
Wow. Okay, good.
Very well done.
I mean, his future is still secret between them, right? I forget where we landed on that.
Yes, it is. It's still a secret.
A Gorn-sized secret between them.
And he's getting so mad, like, let me just hold you. Like, let's just be together. Why do you have to make this difficult?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Look, these moments right now matter really, really a lot, and I can't tell you why.
Yeah, there are still a few outstanding secrets out there, like Omega sneaking his daughter on the ship. Like, that is still a pretty decent sized secret, except Una knows, and I think Una's the only one who knows.
Yeah, and I mean, unless they told him everything that went down during the Elysian Kingdom,
yeah,
which I think they said they didn't.
But everybody forgot. Remember that was
right.
Right.
So unless they told them, yeah.
So yeah, there's still a couple big secrets out there. Who the Butcher of Jagal fight.
Yeah.
Mega's got a lot of secrets out there.
There's some secrets.
Where the drugs are.
Where the drugs are. I forget who made the point about the pattern buffer and why not just put Patel in there. I mean,
I think it was Lucy, or I can't remember. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the pattern buffer is definitely just one of those Star Trek tools where you're like, yeah, they're going to use it when they want to use it, and for reasons they can't use it when it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Because it absolutely would have solved all the problems.
It's so many problems that would solve in this series and other series. Yeah.
It takes a lot of power, and they needed all the power they could get for this episode.
You need Mbenga's password.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's not on the ship, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
Well, okay, specifically, it does appear to be a trick that Mbenga learned in wartime, and therefore it's plausible that not everybody who has worked a transporter knows how to do that trick, right? Like, it's possible. Because Chapel didn't know about it.
Later this season suggest otherwise.
Well, right, but in this episode, which is the one we're talking about, it's plausible that not everybody knows how to do that trick. But Chapel was there, so...
Yeah. Chapel was there. That's right. Chapel would be the one person. Don't you hate when you talk yourself into disagreeing with yourself?
I'm trying to give people options.
Well, let's give them options for some music to listen to. We've reached the part of our episodes where we pick a song that we feel best represents either the episode or a character in the episode, or it's just a funny pun, or who knows what. We each are going to now share what we feel is the best accompaniment for this episode musically. Who wants to start?
I say Cameron or John, because I was not told to pick my song until we started recording.
Sure, I'll start. Mine is very specific to one element, one moment, really, which I talked about before. Spock's smile at the end, where he thinks everything is just turning up Spock, and he couldn't be more wrong. But I could very well see at that moment this song playing by Aqualung. It is a song titled, fittingly, Brighter Than Sunshine. And we can start playing now. What a feeling in my soul. Love burns brighter than sunshine. Brighter than sunshine. Let the rain fall. I don't care. I'm yours, and suddenly you're mine. Spock and only Spock's mental geography at that moment. And I would have liked to have just heard that playing in his head.
That's a good one. I like Aqualung.
Yeah.
My choice is definitely more on the jokey side, but you know, we go back to the criticism some folks have had for the end of season 2 with Pike seemingly freezing in the face of an oncoming attack, and then just the way it gets into the into the episode after that. But really, people are looking at Pike and saying, so don't delay, act now. I mean, supplies are running out, Pike. We've got to solve this. You know, if you're still alive, these Gorn could come back in 6 to 8 years. You know, allow them 6 to 8 years to arrive. So, of course, I'm going with Walking on the Sun.
Of course.
And, I mean, it's Smash Mouth. How can you not start a season with Smash Mouth?
And it's Walking on the Sun.
It's Walking on the Sun, yeah. He might as well be as close as he gets.
That's right.
Looking straight at it. Looking straight at it. Close up, eyes, like... He's going to be blinking that out of his vision for a couple days at least.
Do you remember in TNG when they were like watching the sun and they had to like put a little black dot over it on the view screen because it was too bright? And it's like, it's a fucking view screen. You can moderate the brightness.
Dim it. It's okay.
Well, now I feel like I put too much work in because John picked a Smash Mouth song.
As long as yours has sun in the title.
This should make Cameron happy, unless that's your criteria, because this does not have sun in the title. Cameron and John, I have chosen a gunship song for this episode. Nice. And it is specifically from the point of view of our favorite character, Ortegas, with lyrics like, we own the sky, you and I, take it tonight, fly for your life. There's one thing I know for sure, you gotta fly for your life. A world I've never seen before, a silhouette into the sun. Are you ready to burn? Oh, it's a miracle. I got spirit. I got wings. I got fire in my lungs. My pick this week is Fly for Your Life by Gunship. And it is the song for Ortegas.
Nice.
That's a good pick.
I'll take it.
Very good pick. Yeah. Well, I mean, we are going to keep getting interviews with cast members, crew members, writers, anybody we can. We will have to explain to Christina Chong why nobody picked Twin Flames as the song pick for this episode. But I brought it up, so I'm not going to be in trouble with her. But you guys deep trouble with her. So,
Fair.
Jesse, if folks want to call in and hear their voice and contribute to the Open Pike Night coverage of Strange New Worlds Season 3, how can they do that?
Well, John, I'm glad that you asked because I feel like it's been a while since I really had to give these instructions. It hasn't because we do it every episode, but it feels like it matters now because the show is back on the air, and as evidenced by tonight, people are going to want to call and talk about it. Of course, the easiest way to do that is just to go to openpike.com. There's a little button right there where you can record your message directly and send it to us. All you need is a phone. It's very easy. Of course, if you prefer the option to cut things out and maybe speed up your audio because you can't fit it into 90 seconds, go ahead and record an MP3 and email that to openpike@gmail.com. And hey, if you need somewhere on social media that's just talking about Star Trek and not the rest of reality, come hang out with us on your social media of choice at Open Pike.
What is this, a podcast for chipmunks? 'Cause that's what it's going to be next time. Thanks, Jesse.
I would really love to get a call like that.
Oh, man. We have to slow it down, speed it back up. And Cameron.
Sure. Yeah.
I know that you are on a break while we cover Strange New Worlds, but what can folks look forward to after the 9 remaining episodes of Strange New Worlds
That's
for this
right.
season?
When I'm back from my time with Corby, we will be an item. I can guarantee you that. No, yeah, it's all Strange New Worlds for a little bit, but once we are back, Green Shirt is returning to discuss some more new Trek. We're getting into Picard and more Deep Space Nine with the Deep Space Nine Minute. Yeah. And from what I hear, Voyager not long after that. So don't worry, we're not going away. We'll fill your ears between seasons 3 and 4 with all that Trek goodness.
I'm very excited to hear what Cameron thinks about Picard, honestly.
I'm very excited to hear myself, yeah.
I cannot wait.
It could go either way. I don't know.
But before that, we have to get through what is going to be an amazing season of Strange New Worlds with you, our callers. But for right now, the Open Pike Night crew, we have to go clean up the stage and we have to get ready. We're hosting a wedding next week. We're actually hosting a wedding in like 2 days, so we really have to get planning. So be sure to clean up after yourselves. Be sure to tip your servers. You can go anywhere you want, but you can't stay here.
Okay, and Platty, you've got a whole segment called Hits, Shits, and Giggles, but you didn't mention that half of the crew was actually partially turned into shit by the Gorn ship? Like, come on, man.